Are the Saints a 4-win disaster or are they a 7-win disaster? We're going to find out Sunday versus the Chargers. Aren't you excited? Thomas, hit that intro.
Welcome to Saints Happy Hour Podcast. We never trade up.
If there was a path to give up 3 first-round picks to get Jaden Daniels, I would do it. And I would pick Jaden Daniels.
Now grab a drink and enjoy the show.
All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of Saints Happy Hour Podcast. As always, we are brought to you by Hard Hide Ponchatoula Strawberry Whiskey. I got Kevin with me. I got Thomas running the show back in Poland. If you find us on the YouTubes, please like us, subscribe to our channel, and leave a comment in the comment section. It helps with the algorithm. It's a great way to support the show and help us out. All right, Kevin.
Ralph.
Saints are 2-5.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't won in 5 weeks. They've looked progressively worse each week of the losing streak. They are cursed. New Orleans sports are cursed. I had Pelicans fans in my mentions yesterday. They were like, at least the Saints, y'all got 2 good weeks of fun. We got 1 goddamn night. Pelicans had their star, Dejounte Murray. He had 1 great game, and he broke his wrist. He's out 4 to 5 weeks. So here's the thing, Kevin, and I said it on the intro with the Saints Chargers game. And I think I think people on Twitter and in the Discord for Patreon are sort of mocking me or laughing at me, but I don't think they quite get it. Because I think it's important. I think this is an important sort of pivot point for the Saints in the 2024 season. Not that they're making the playoffs or going to accomplish to go to the Super Bowl. None of that. That's all out the window. The dreams of the first 2 weeks are dead. But Kevin, I do think Sunday is going to tell us, are the Saints a team that can rally back and maybe get to 7 wins, 8 wins, and maybe possibly save DA's job? Or are they a 4-win abject disaster? Because, Kevin, if you can't rally up and play better than you have the last 3 weeks, especially after 11 days off, you got 11 days to rest, you're getting people back. If you still can't go to Los Angeles and not be an embarrassment, I think we're looking at a 3-4 win team.
Yeah, I'm more in the camp that we're looking at 4 or 5 wins. I think Carolina on the road, at home against Cleveland, and potentially Vegas are the 3 teams that the Saints on paper right now, I would say, have a chance against.
But if you think those are the 3 games they have a chance, I don't necessarily think they win them all. So you're sticking like they're like a 4-win team?
Yeah. I can't fathom this team, the way it's been playing, getting 7 wins, let alone 8 or 9. I mean, you know, the McCoy injury happens against the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
Taysom injury happens, and it just becomes
a snowball. It's injury after injury.
A landslide at that point. Yeah. And now I'm seeing all these cues on the depth chart now. Like, it seems like I'm seeing more than I did the last time I made that joke about all the cues here. But yeah, it ain't looking good, man. Like,
well, I mean,
Olave is still questionable. He may still be dealing with concussion symptoms. Kamara apparently has a broken goddamn hand.
But he's gonna go. He's a Warrior. And he got his money, so he's gonna go.
But you just look at you look at all this and you're like, who are we relying on? Like, we're relying on post-concussion Chris Olave as our number 1. And our number 2 is what? Mason Tipton or Bub Means?
Or what about, you got Marquez Valdez Scantling?
Right, but he just joined the team. Like, I only picked him in the player pick'em thing because I was running out of names to pick and decided, maybe there might be something.
Spin the wheel of sadness.
Right, something with him. Maybe he gets, a few catches. Maybe one of them's a touchdown late in the game.
What are we thinking? Because I think this. Look, I thought last Thursday was really unfair to judge Spencer Rattler. Like you said, you don't got Shaheed, you don't got Olave, you don't got.
Oh wait, now you're admitting it might have been unfair to judge him because you were putting the poor kid on blast, Ralph.
I'm still putting him on blast, and then I got family members of the Rattler families in my DMs. Thank you,
Jesus.
Yelling at me. But here's the thing. It's unfair. It was unfair in the sense of they were missing a bunch of guys. But in this sense, Kevin, I think it's entirely fair in that at South Carolina, he had a tendency to take a lot of sacks and make bad decisions, turnovers, fumbles, that sort of thing.
Right.
He's done it again. If you want me to believe that Spencer Rattler has a future with the Saints, I gotta see less sacks, less turnovers Sunday. I'm not even saying the Saints need to win because I still think their defense is pitiful and I think it's hard. But if you told me Spencer Rattler was going to have a nice game where he threw for 200 yards and a touchdown, one pick, but he only got sacked twice, I'd be like, that's improvement. That is demonstrable process that this kid can look at it and be like, I got to take less sacks. I got to take less hits. I got to protect the ball better. I want to see that. It's not about touchdowns. It's not about cool plays. It's about, because Kevin, he's not going to survive for one in the NFL.
No,
taking 3-4 sacks again. It's not survivable.
Well, he's at 11 right now. So that's an average of 5.5. So what I would like to see 3 or fewer.
Yeah. And here's the thing, you may say a stat line and be like, oh, he got sacked 3 times, but you're like, yeah, but 2 of those were scrambles where he lost 1 yard. And you're like, okay.
Right. Or one of them was potentially a mishandled snap. I don't know.
Yeah.
But not your traditional, I'm dropping back to pass, the O-line just fails tremendously.
Caves, or I step into a sack.
Life. Yeah.
Yeah. And This is a tough test because the Chargers, by the way, first in fewest points allowed. They allowed 13.8 points a game. Their offense, pretty bad, 26th. That hasn't been a problem against the Saints lately, though, Kevin. You play the Saints, whoever your running back is, they instantly turn into Jim Brown. A run and play versus the Saints is 0.3 EPA, which would be the best running back in the sport. So they literally turned any running back into the best running back in the NFL. But what are you looking for? Because I'm not even it's not that I'm necessarily, I mean, we're all down on the Saints, but I'm so far down with them that I'm not even saying win this game, Saints.
Wait, what did you say the Chargers are the best at?
Defense. They've allowed the fewest points.
Oh, the fewest points. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
83 points.
Yeah, 13.8.
13.8. The thing is, for me, Kevin, the Saints, the last 3 weeks, and especially the last 6 quarters, it's an unwatchable product. It's an unwatchable product. And that, to me, if you go into this game and you get your head kicked in, it's time to fire DA because you had 11 days off. You got healthy, and you still got your head kicked in, and you still played like you didn't give a damn. At that point, you got to make changes. They've got to put a watchable product on the field. I want this game at 5:30 to still be competitive. I want to still be watching this game and not watching my kids' soccer game at 5:30. I want to be stuck to my phone on a soccer field somewhere. I don't want to just put it away and be like,
and actually have to be a parent.
Yeah, and actually have to be a parent for 10 minutes. I'm it's 10 minutes. This game is done. I want a competitive, entertaining product. And if I don't get it, people need to be fired. Or should be. They not will be fired, but they should be fired.
I would prefer DA not get fired right now, even if they do lose.
You want the top 4 pick.
Because here's the
be honest.
Yeah, I guess besides if you're gonna fire the guy, you either do it. You would do it at the bye week,
okay,
which is after the Cleveland game.
Yeah, you lose the Jays at home,
right? And it's a home game, so you would feasibly get if they lost and they're like 3 and what the hell would that be? That's
6.
4 more games, so that's
3 and 9,
3 and 9 or 3 and 8. No, it'd be 3 and 8. If they're 3 and 8 after that and you want to fire them, okay, fine. You got the bye week, whoever you name as the interim head coach. I'm trusting you guys that say it would be the special teams guy. Fine, you give him at least a week to get some things sorted before the closing stretch.
Mm-hmm.
But I still would prefer you make this fucker ride it out. You make him ride it out because, look, they're not making the playoffs.
Yeah.
They have way too many holes on this team. Even if they had everybody healthy right now, I don't believe that the team is good enough to win enough games to even get to get back to 500. Well, it wouldn't be 500, but to either 8 and 9 or even 9 and 8.
Yeah.
The first 2 games are just an aberration at this point. Like that's
I've come to
like it was great, but
I've come to the conclusion, Kevin, that even if the Saints had gotten a lot better health luck, and even if they would have closed the deal on a couple of those games, Philadelphia, if they'd have beat Philadelphia or they would have beat Atlanta, I still think their defense would be where it is. I think it would still be wretched because the defense hasn't. I mean, I know they've lost they've had some issues at safety, and then Demario Davis and Pete Werner, but all of those injuries on defense, that doesn't explain why you're the worst defense in the league, especially running the ball against the run. Right? I think even if they were 4 and 3 or even like 5 and 2, I still think we'd be like, this defense is bad. DA, you got to fix this defense. Why is this defense so dreadful? I think it's a combination of whether it's personnel, getting old, guys tuning him out, guys not being good enough. I don't think the injuries, you can explain the offense. Now, I can explain it. You can look at it and be like, hey, that was an XFL offense on Thursday, and that's why you got your head kicked in. Fine. The defense, completely different story. This defense, even with the injuries they've had, should not be a dumpster fire, and it is a complete dumpster fire, and it looks like a dumpster fire that doesn't even give a damn.
Right. So going back to the whole he should be fired. It's like, again, the team is moving in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
If you want to argue it's been moving in the wrong direction for over a year longer, whatever. But the point is, we all are on the same page that the team is moving in the wrong direction.
That's right.
They have way too many holes, way too many needs.
Mm-hmm.
That is why this team needs a top 5 draft pick and to be able to trade that and accumulate more stuff to get more shots to fill more spots. Like,
well, the thing is,
seriously, wide receiver is now a must need. Even if Olave comes back, even if Shaheed comes back, you've now got Shaheed coming off of an injury.
Yeah.
You have a concussive Chris Olave. Those can't be your 2 top guys.
3 and 3 years. Before, we have plenty of time to talk about the draft.
I know.
That. We have plenty of time to do that, and we will.
Oh,
but
yeah.
The last thing I want to say.
We got time.
The last thing I want to say about this is I've totally switched over to where I used to be supportive of you and say, hey, I'm with you, Kevin. I want them to trade down. That would be fun if they did. It was cool. I'm past that point now. They better trade down. They are not going to succeed and get out of this depression, malaise, whatever you want to call it, they're in. They're not going to get out of it until they have back-to-back drafts where they draft 10-plus dudes. because their roster, like you just explained, is so crap. The days of, hey, we have a great roster in 2019, we have a great roster in 2020, we can trade away picks. We don't have spots for rookies anyway. We can just draft 5 guys and it'll be okay because our roster's deep. Those days are fucking over.
Right.
And they've got to change the draft philosophy or they're not getting out of this.
And if Mickey refuses to change it, then he needs to be hogtied or duct taped and put in a trunk somewhere.
The thing about Mickey Loomis
on the first day of the draft.
The thing about Mickey Loomis, though, Kevin, I feel like he's like the de facto owner of the Saints. Like, I know Gail is officially the owner and she technically owns the team, but I feel like Mickey Loomis is like the owner, and saying him to do this or do that or fire him or kick him up, like it's pointless. But anyway, we got to get to this.
Right.
Yeah. We got to get to this Chargers game. Chargers are 3-3. Jim Harbaugh's a really great coach. Like we said, looking at this game, it's really hard for me to conjure up the Saints winning. But, Kevin, if you were a degenerate and you wanted to conjure up the Saints winning, I think you got to start with Kamara. Even though he's injured, he celebrates the new contract with 80 or 90 rushing yards. Kamara over 90 rushing yards plus 500. Over 80 rushing yards, 330. If you think the Saints are going to win this football game, it has to start with the run game. And I know the run game has been garbage, but you get you get Ruiz back, you get Patrick back. Maybe your interior is better. You get Taysom back. Taysom gives them juice. I know the national media makes fun of Taysom, but he gives the Saints juice, and he does a lot for their run game. I think you got to start there. That's my number one prop. If you think the Saints are going to win, like, it's
well, shit. I mean, well, look, the prop I'm finding is 49.5. I would pound that.
Well, that's over under. You can bet the over under, but you can bet more. You can bet like over 100 yards rushing. You get +8. You can get at different places. You get plus 850.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And another thing is, I would say this. If the Saints have any pride and any self-worth, they're going to hold J.K. Dobbins under 80 yards. Like, you've got to believe that I got to believe they got veterans on that side. I got to believe they're going to have some sort of pride. And if you want to go J.K. Dobbins, the over-under is 76.5. I'm going to go under for J.K. Dobbins. I think the Saints, I'm not saying the run defense is going to be fixed from here on out. I'm just saying Sunday, it'll be better.
I will be pounding that over as well.
You'll be pounding.
I will be pounding that over. It's like, brother, you tell me, the Saints need to give me a reason, to quote Rod Stewart, find a reason to believe. Like, So give me something to believe in here. Oh, shit, that's another song lyric. Like, they're giving up 146.7 yards per game, and that's bottom 4 in the league. Man, don't sit here and tell me that the Chargers aren't going to get that. Like, the Chargers are just about middle of the pack. They're getting 116 yards per game.
Yeah.
The Saints are going to give that up.
I'd say
the Saints are going to give that up for sure.
I think I'd bet the over on this game.
The over is what, 40.5?
I'd bet the over. I think it's going to be, I don't know if it's going to be a fun game from start to finish. I think it's going to be a fun game at the beginning because I think the Chargers defense, even though it's number 1 in points allowed, I think you can get at their secondary. And I think Chris Olave back helps. I think Taysom being back helps. I think the Saints can get at their secondary a little bit. I would say bet Spencer Rattler over 200 yards passing. I would say bet him 2 touchdown passes. I think the Saints they're going to score points, but I think, to your point, their defense their offense can be better with the guys returning, but their defense can still very much be ass. And it could make for a fun shootout game in this way, where I could see the Saints scoring some points, and I could see Dennis Allen being, Kevin, like, I'm going to stop this run no matter what. And in the first half of the game, it's 8, 9-man boxes, and Herbert's throwing all over the Saints. And to your point, J.K. Dobbins, he'll get his in the second half when Chargers are trying to run out the clock or salt it away. But in the first half, I could see Justin Herbert throwing for a bunch of yards. And I think this game's going to be a little weird. It's going to be a little wacky, and it's going to be fun, and it's going to be a lot of points, even though the Chargers defense would point against that. But you're looking at
it. Yeah, I'm disagreeing. I would take the under on it. I mean, I think what's funny is I think my prediction might have been 24-14 or 24-13.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that actually would be the under.
I predicted that too, but I'm changing my mind. I still think the Chargers will win. I just think it's going to be more points. I think the Saints offense is going to be better, give a better account of themselves.
I would say Rattler has to throw at least 2 touchdowns. I mean, look, if you want them to have a chance, he needs to throw at least 2 touchdowns. Rushing yards, he needs to beat the over on that, which, I mean, this prop here is pretty low. It's at 22.5. I would say he has to be that. He has to be a guy. He has to be. I don't know what the prop would be on sacks if they offer those, but we're talking. I'm looking for 3 or less, but prop wise, if you wanted me to say props to like that, would
probably 2.5. I would bet.
Then it would have to. You'd have to bet the under.
Yeah.
You'd have to say he's going 2 touchdowns or better. You'd have to say he's going to rush for 30 yards or more. Like things like that. Kamara, obviously. Look, the over under on here is low, 49.5. If you're saying 80, what's the bet on 80?
Oh, Kamara for over 80 rushing yards?
Yeah.
The bet, if you go over 80 is plus 330. So you bet 100, you win 330. Here's my question, Kevin, before we get out of here. What's the funniest outcome for the Saints the next 2 weeks? Like, not good outcome where they win 2 and they're back in the race and they give us false hope, or they get fired, or they terrible, they lose both and DA's fired. Like, what's the funniest outcome the next 2 weeks? Because I've been thinking about this a lot and I can't really come up with a clear answer. I was hoping maybe you would. What's the funniest outcome?
Funniest outcome would be that they actually beat the Chargers on the road. And they look good in the process. I'm not saying it's a skull drag, and I'm not saying that everything works flawlessly, but it's a good team victory. They're not over-reliant. It's not all, it was all defense. It was all off. It was
all shenanigans.
Whenever a play needed to be made in whatever phase of the game, it happened.
Mm-hmm.
So they win against the Chargers, and they look good in the process, no injuries. Then they go to Carolina and get beat with Bryce Young as the quarterback.
Oh, my God. And
that would be the same. What would the Saintsiest thing to be?
That would be
that right there. You beat the Chargers, you look pretty good in the process, and then you go to Carolina and just shit the bed.
That is, I think that's the winner. That wasn't kind of what I wasn't thinking that, but I think that's the most Saintsy. I was saying, like,
what do you mean, like trick, like silliness, like Rattler goes to throw, his hand hits.
No, it could be anything. I was thinking the funniest outcome would be the Saints lose to or beat the Chargers. Spencer Rattler looks amazing. Amazeballs. I'm talking like lights out. He looks like a dude. You're like, if you saw it, you'd be like, they should have picked, the teams missed out on him. They should have picked him higher. He's amazing. This is exactly what you want when you're playing a rookie quarterback in his third start. throws for 250, runs for 70, 2 touchdown passes, a touchdown running. Like, he is amazing. And DA's like, I'm going back to Carr. And he goes back to Carr, and they do what you said. They shit the bed against Carolina. That'd be the most Saintsy thing and the most 2024 Saintsy thing, because then Saints Twitter, we can add nuclear weapons to the civil war that we kind of been having. Because now it's like, you bench Spencer Rattler just when he figured it out, DA. I hate you.
Right.
And you put Carr back in, and you lost to freaking Carolina. Like, that would be the most Saintsy thing, because we would be at each other's throats.
I don't think we would be. I don't think there would be as many people at each other's throats. I don't. If Rattler goes to San Diego,
LA.
If he goes to Inglewood,
it's in your brain.
clowns.
Chargers in San Diego.
Absolute
it's in
clowns.
Your brain. It's in your brain.
If they go to Inglewood, always up to no good. And he looks good and they win, and DA still replaces him. Maybe that's the hybrid is between our two things. Is Rattler, he doesn't light the world on fire, but he's like, 2 passing touchdowns, runs, throws 1 pick, 2 sacks, but looks like a decent mobile quarterback. Like, you see the vision, you see the tools, you see what's there. And then they're like, okay, we think Carr's ready to go. We're putting him in. And it's like, it's like sending Joe Louis against one of the tomato cans. And the tomato can accidentally hits the better boxer right on the button and knockout. Carolina ends up scoring more points than they have all season.
The robot right on the head and it pops up.
Right. Sweat flying back.
So, final question, Kevin, and then we get out of here. I always ask it, and
am I going to change? No.
Are you going to change your pick?
No.
I want to change. I don't want to change my pick. I want to change my score. I think it's going to be 35-31 Chargers.
Jesus.
I think it's just going to be. I think it's just going to be weird. It's just going to be one of those weird games where, like, the Chargers defense, the Saints have a good plan, and they kind of catch them on their heels for a couple of quarters. And I think the Saints offense is going to be a lot better. The Saints defense is going to continue to suck. But we haven't been entertained by the Saints in about a month. We're due for a really entertaining, fun 5 minutes left in this game. It's still not decided. Isn't this a pleasant way to spend a Sunday afternoon? So that's what I think is going to happen. So,
I admire, I guess, your willingness to believe that these Saints are capable of putting up 31. I'm not
take a little shenanigans. It'll take a little help from the Chargers.
I'm sticking to what I had. Again, I think it was 24-13.
Yeah.
Which is in line with what the Chargers, like you said, had the lowest defensive scoring average. Points allowed.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see the Saints. I can't see this Saints team getting beyond 17. I'll say that. I'd say their ceiling is 17. If the Saints are going to win this, it's
going to be ugly.
It's got to be ugly. There's got to be shenanigans involved, and the defense actually has to step up and tackle and contain. And I don't see that happening.
I've lost all faith.
You lost all faith, and yet you're predicting them to get 31 points.
It'll be shenanigans, and I'm predicting. I think the offense can be better because they'll get healthy. They'll get Olave back. They'll have a good plan. They have Kamara. I think the offense can be better because they'll get guys back. In this defense anymore to stop anyone, but I still think if the offense plays better, it can be fun. And I think San Diego's defense is a little bit fraudulent because they've played a lot of really bad offenses. And the Saints, if they get the guys back, they're not a bottom 5 offense, even with Rattler. So I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to give us a like and leave a comment for the algorithm. algorithm. It's a great way of supporting the show for free. And if you like what you saw, consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/Saints Happy Hour. Thanks to Kevin for hanging out with me. Thanks to Thomas running the show back in Poland. We always appreciate Thomas, the best producer on earth. Guys, we will see you after the Saints Chargers on Sunday. Until then, the bar is closed.